sensible. I wondered if he's like busted his lip or something, because he seemed even more difficult to follow than normal.
So I read something that said he's actually got braces on his teeth at the moment and a wire in his jaw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe that was
like,
the braces, yeah.
Why have him at that point in time?
Maybe Sky didn't know about the braces when they when they gave him the contract.
Maybe. I must admit, I know this is jumping forward to another match, but when he interviewed
Tony Smith?
No, your halfback.
Cade Cust?
Yes,
Field?
I couldn't work out how to which letters were in which word. I did think, like, poor Blurk, he's there, you know, and you're just throwing JJB at him. But anyway, yes, Pod the Viking said, a great game to start the season that has everything. Tries, red cards, yellow cards, and a few scuffles. A good win for Saints, but Catalan need to sort their discipline.
St David said, yes, 20 minutes to set their energy. Face down McBanana's Maison de Merde tactics and pull back the deficit. Full control thereafter and some belting tries to boot. Great plan from Wolf to play to Hurrell's strengths on defence and attack. Back of the pack was awesome. Keep coming, boys. Hashtag 4P, hashtag onwards.
Tom Andrews said, season starting with a bang. No, not literally, Gil, for fuck's sake. Start strong start from Le Dracs. But once Saints found their rhythm, it was one-way traffic and they punished Catalans. Then Napa punished Percival's face and it really was game over. I think Catalans will be better once Pearce gets onto the field.
Yeah, he was anonymous, wasn't he? He was missing Mitchell Pearce in his presence. White Pie said, new season and Catalans revert to type by being utter garbage away from home. Saints did nothing spectacular but took their chances when they came, and the game's highlight was Dylan Napa doing Dylan Napa things and getting sent off for a shoulder to the head. Catalans will be better, but so will Saints, and they looked comfortable from start to finish. A couple of lines, I guess, to follow up, because there was a lot of talk about Dylan Napa there. Sarah, he was charged with a grade D strikes with shoulder. He actually has had his disciplinary tribunal today. He tried to plead for a lower grading, but they dismissed that and gave him a 4-match ban. Gil Dudson received a 3-match ban for his grade D punching. Shall we start with those decisions, maybe?
Yeah.
The game started with it, didn't it?
Yeah, we can't start very far beyond that, can we? Unless, we were going to talk about the kickoff.
Well, what did you make of that Dudson incident on the first tackle? I think it might be interesting to read if Dudson cited any aggravating factors in his actions, because he seemed to be indicating at the time that there was something, but there's a honour amongst thieves sort of approach, isn't there, here, where probably he'll just have taken what he's been given here. But I've got no problem with a punch getting a yellow card. I wasn't expecting it to be a grade D though, because it didn't seem brutal, the punch, from what I recall, but I don't know what you made of it.
Yeah, because he was complaining that there had been eye gouging or something, wasn't he? And, there was blood on his face when he went off, which maybe would suggest that there was something. But, yeah, I think I'm pleased that Liam Moore actually pulled a card out at that point, because things were still very heated. But I think had he let that go, it could have descended into a farce very quickly.
Or at least it could have been like... He's making amends for his mistake of not sending someone off for punching someone in the grand final, or sin-binning someone for punching someone in the grand final, by getting it right straight away.
Possibly, yeah.
And the Napa red card, definitely the right call, wasn't it? He went in recklessly and put his shoulder right into the guy's head. It wasn't a great tackle technique in the first place, and he didn't have any care for making a proper tackle on his opponent. That's what I felt.
Yeah, totally. I think, again, right call.
His head had gone anyway, because there was that earlier one where he went to headbutt someone but missed him by about half a yard, so nothing actually came of it. But
Yeah.
someone should have been pulling him aside. But I guess things didn't look good for Catalans by that point, did they? So maybe no one was thinking about damage limitation. They were all fired up to make some sort of impact. He certainly did that.
Definitely, yeah. No, I think it was definitely the right call both times, actually.
What else shall we pull out from this game? Any performances that impressed you? Any bits of play that impressed you? A couple of people are talking about Hurrell in the fan reviews.
Yeah, I mean, he does look like he slimmed off a lot, doesn't he?
I don't know.
Did you not think so?
I think they're just telling us he's got loads fitter, and we just got to believe them. But when he took that intercept, I know it was right near the end of the game, but he was blowing after 10 yards.
Yeah.
He made it to the line, though, bless him. But
yeah.
he looked better, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was that he fits in better or quite what it is, but he did look more at home there. I thought Catalan looked very poor as a team. I can't, despite all the hype being that the two of them, these are going to be the two big teams. After that match, I thought, I'm not sure that Catalans are going to be the second team, but we shall see.
I suppose it was the first game for a new halfback combination. Drinkwater had his nice little kick for their opening try, so he still got that in his game, but Pearce was just nowhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll improve. He'll get a few more games under his belt, get a bit more confident. It's hard your first game to be against this Saints defence.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, and I thought, I know Tom Davies comes out in the individual stats, but I thought he did work very hard. And 6 tackle busts is impressive, isn't it?
They pulled out that knock on, didn't they, in the Sky coverage that he had when he'd made that break, that really good break actually from a kick return, and after that point, at that point in the game, then Saints, they scored shortly after because it was the Super Bowl on Thursday apparently when it comes to forward passes, rather than on Sunday, but that first try was ridiculous. But then that's when they got the defence in order. I think before that point, Saints were a little bit too too overzealous. Part of that was shown in that first tackle. If the fact that it turned into a melee was cost of how physical and into it Saints were, and they were a bit overzealous at times as well. I think Purcell was called offside twice and could have been called offside more.
Yeah, I'd agree. It was a skinny 10, and I think that was possibly one area of the game that I didn't feel that Moore was so hot on.
But he pulled up Saints for it a few times in the first 20 minutes. Oh, sorry, I was hearing myself again there. Pulled up Saints for it a couple of times, didn't he? I think it was Percival both times. And after that, Saints were a bit more organised in the defensive line. It looked just like last year's defensive line then. Whether it was a short 10 or otherwise, there wasn't people jumping out and being offside. It didn't seem like, compared to the rest of the line of both sides. But I think then they weren't undoing their own defence by poor execution in terms of being offside and stuff. So that turned the game then. There was a set where Catalans made only 10 metres, and that set the pattern then from that point on. But Catalans fell into a trap of just doing the same thing over and over again. They didn't do what they did well at Magic Weekend last year, which was kind of switch the play to start doing these blindside runs. I thought Lange could have eaten Hurrell up, but they never really tested him.
No, like at Magic, it was a case of things aren't going well, we'll switch things around. Oh, look, suddenly we're winning. Whereas on Thursday, it was a case of things aren't going well, we'll just keep trying them.
Yeah. And that one-out stuff on their exit sets just put themselves under pressure because there was no one ever getting a quick play of the ball to do something a bit different. Or it was poor, like you say. I had Lewis Dodds try noted down, Sarah. I thought that was brilliant, his little kick for himself. I don't understand really why they went to the video ref. maybe there was a slight question mark over the grounding because he kind of grounded it with one of his hands. It was a bit, the rest were maybe a bit blind to the angle or whatever, but I thought they just wanted everyone to have a few good looks in slow motion at how classy he was, because that was good stuff.
And see it from a different angle.
Yeah, the Saints attack did look all right actually. Helped by touchdowns, but after that first try, the other tries they scored I thought were pretty good until the Joey Lussick one, which was ridiculously easy. Goal kicking an issue for Saints though. It was pulled out in the fan reviews, and
I was just about to say, it could have been 36-8, couldn't it? Because they missed 4.
Yeah, 29% was their goal success rate.
Which, it's fine if you're keeping your opposition to that few points, but if you're going to have a closer game, it's one thing you really don't want to be doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, some of the kicks were difficult, but some of the kicks were gettable that were missed as well. And it's an area where they don't have a clear and obvious replacement for Coote. Coote only took over kicking because Percival didn't like doing it, even though he is good at it on the training field. He obviously didn't like the pressure of it in the match or something, I'm not sure, but didn't like doing it, so they had to find someone else. Coote took over and turned out to be amazing.
Yeah. Very
consistent. That's something that they've probably got a bit of time to work on it before there's crunch games to be played, if this is how they're going to, treat the opening round against Catalans anyway. Other news note, Sarah, Julian Busquets suffered a broken arm, set to see a specialist this week and undergo surgery. So he's going to be out for, let's say, for argument's sake, at least a month. That means that Napa, Dudson and Busquets, their first choice 3 props, are out for the next 3 weeks at minimum. Napa another week after that. That's rough on Catalans. The squad depth is going to be tested already. They're going to have to pull up some of the younger guys and see how they get on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, won't it, to see what they do and how they get on.
Selection crisis already for one of the sides. Okay, shall we move on to Friday night?
Yep, let's go to Friday.
Castleford versus Salford in front of 10,050 at the Jungle, so really good crowd. Tom Grant was the referee. It was 20-10 to Salford at half-time and finished 26-16, so they just maintained the same margin. In terms of the team stats, numbers raged by Salford across the board. 123 more metres made it a better average gain with 4 breaks to 2 fewer errors made, 3 fewer penalties conceded, so Salford were better. Individually, who stood out on the stats?
Yep, so Andy Ackers with 1 try assist, 41 tackles, and 10 of those were marker tackles. Jude Burgess with 8 tackle busts and 184 metres. Dion Cross with 1 try and 118 metres. And King Vuniyawa with 1 try and 106 metres. For the losing Castlestein, Daryl Alferts with 2 tries, 8 tackle busts and 123 metres and 2 clean breaks. Joe Westerman with 126 metres. Daniel Smith with 111 metres and 3 offloads. Mahe Fanua with 1 try assist and 110 metres. So decent showing even for Castleford there individually.
Yeah, there wasn't. They weren't short of good performers with the ball. I wonder if it was without the ball that was their main issue, possibly. We'll find out maybe from the fan views. At Chris Seedhouse says, great team performance from Salford, showing that spine has already started clicking from game 1. Some errors and mistakes to cut out, especially from the first half, but already showing we can be dark horses this season.
7Bugsy7 said Salford started the game very nervous, but once they got into the game they looked impressive with ball in hand. The goal line D was also outstanding at times. All in all, a great start and made up for Paul and the players. With a bunch of emojis that don't come out very well.
Smiling, very grinny face, some sort of plant, and a fist pump. Always in our shadow just said, Sneed! Of course, he kicked Salford to victory in this game.
Yep. Fatboy Rob said, shite. Shite selection, shite tactics, shite halfback, shite defence, shite ref, Leeds twat, and shite performance. All of the new sides played shite, especially the shitey rejects and the bum fingerer. Even Macca was shite. The only things that weren't shite were Westerman, the new bar,